today we want to become more deliberate about that. We'll be looking at how to move from simply having potential to actually being visible and credible. So today's session is basically divided into two sessions. One, we will focus on the foundation, that's the tools that represent you professionally, basically things like your CV, LinkedIn profile, how you communicate professionally. And we'll also have a second session on strategy, how to stand out even without years of experience. How do you build evidence? How do you show value? And how do you position yourself as someone who solves problem, not someone who has a degree only? So without taking much of your time, initially we intended to start with the foundation tools. But however, before the speaker for that session joins us, would start with the second session. That's section 2, which is the positioning strategy. And that is basically standing out. Now, in this session, would have Engineer Abdul Malik Dahiru Kona. He's going to be speaking to us about positioning strategy and how to stand out intentionally in a competitive space. Just to give you a bit of a brief introduction on who Engineer Abdul Malik Dahiru Kona is. Currently, Engineer Abdul Malik Dahiru Kona.
Yeah, after the introduction, also you might be introducing the first speaker also. I think we didn't got the name correctly. His name is, he is also in the meeting. So let's start with
in the meeting.
For the introduction. Yeah, he's in the meeting also. Yeah, but you can continue with the introduction.
Now, so, Engineer Abdul Malik Dahiru Kona is currently a PhD student of chemical engineering at the University of Pittsburgh, USA. He graduated from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, with a first-class degree and as the overall best graduating student in his class. During his undergraduate studies, he distinguished himself academically. He earned several prestigious awards, scholarships, and achievements. Some of the achievements he had include he was a recipient of a multiple of prestigious scholarship, including the NNPC, Total, Merit, the MTN Foundation Science and Technology Scholarship, the FSB Scholarship, Chevron and Abami Scholarship also. After graduating from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, he secured multiple fully funded international graduate offers from various graduate schools, including the Imperial College in London, King Fahd University of Petroleum and Minerals in Saudi Arabia, and several institutions in the US, where he received up to 5 offers from the US, including 4 direct PhDs. Beyond his academic, he has demonstrated strong leadership and service potential. He currently serves as the Vice President of the Chemical Engineering Graduate Student Association at the University of Pittsburgh and as the Vice President of the International Engineering Students Organization, having previously served as Secretary of the organization. As you can see, this is someone with a very broad experience when it comes to our topic of today. When it comes to positioning, we know how competitive global scholarships are. To secure those, you need to be able to position yourself, to communicate your potential, and so on. Our other speaker, Muhammad Abubakar Musa, also has a very broad professional experience. Our first speaker is very experienced in the academic world, while Muhammad Abubakar Musa is very experienced in the professional world. He is an economic advisory consultant. He also graduated from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, with a Bachelor of Science in Economics. His professional experience spans working with several organizations, including the Policy and Legal Advocacy Center. He is holding Deloitte. Deloitte is one of the big four firms. He's also worked with AfriInvest, West Africa Limited, and he's currently a consultant at IFC. So I would stop sharing my screen. As we move into the sessions, I'll hand over to the speaker to speak to us on the positioning strategy. I'll hand over to Engineer Abdul Malik Dahiru Kona. He's going to be sharing his screen. Sure.
wahala fa karin kuɗi mana to ina muke da time.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Please confirm you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see it. Yes.
Is it moving? My screen? I just want to confirm you can see everything.
Yes, we can see what you are showing for us.
Is it moving? Are you only seeing the first slide, or you can see the subsequent slides as well?
Yeah, only the cover slide. It's not moving.
Okay. Fix this before we start.
Yes, we can see your dashboard.
My dashboard? Now? Are you able to see my screen now?
Yes, it's visible and it's moving now.
Okay.
To attend this, please, everyone should mute his mic. Right. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
So, as the moderator introduced, I am Abdul Malik Dahiru Kona, and inshallah today I'll be speaking on building your professional foundation. So basically, he made mention of tools and strategies, and my session is going to focus on strategies, and I believe the second speaker is going to talk more on the practical step to implement those strategies and the tools he's going to talk about. Now, so basically this session is about something that most people don't get taught in school, and in other places, basically how to position yourself. And this is not just for jobs, but also for grad school application, for internships, and for other opportunities in general. And this is especially if you feel like you don't have any experience. What I mean by experience in this context is more formal experience, right? Because basically, if you've attended a school or any other like training institution, you're supposed to have some form of experience. But when we say formal experience, it's more like being employed at, in a professional setting. So we're going to break this into basically 4 practical steps. And if you look at this, everything is actionable, right? This is something you can start this week, or even today after this presentation. So we're going to focus on the building evidence, personal branding, the problem solver frame, and grad school track, or could be also job track as well. So it's a blend of the two. Now, most graduates are stuck in this loop, right? We will think, or most of us think, that we don't have any experience, so we can't get a job, right? Or maybe we don't have any connection, so we can't get anybody to refer us to like different or many types of jobs that are out there. Or maybe we just don't have any clear direction. We don't have like a story to position ourselves for those jobs that are out there. Okay, now how do we break the cycle? Okay, now this might sound very surprising, but opportunities don't go to the most qualified, they go to the most visible and credible candidates. You might be qualified, you might be the best, you might be the top, but you might not be able to tap those opportunities if you do not make yourself visible. So you have to make yourself visible. Basically, people need to know that you exist and you can do something, right? How do people know that you can do something? You need to show evidence, right? You need to show an evidence that, yes, I can do this work. And what kind of evidence? You have to make it clear. You have to make it clear. So your goal as a graduate or as someone in the job market or trying to apply for grad school is to make it easy for the recruiters or for the scholarship committee to say yes to you, right? You have to make it easy for them to say yes to you. It's like you're given like a pitch of your idea, or you're you are like a salesman, right? You're trying to advertise your product and make people buy that product. So that's exactly what you are doing. Trying to make them know that I have this and you guys you have to recruit me, or you have to give me this scholarship. So your job is to do that. Make it easy for them to recruit you, make it easy for them to select you for the scholarship. Right. So, how do you position yourself? Number one, you need to have a skill. And I believe if you go to school or if you go to any training institution, you are getting some form of skill, right? It might not fit the job you're applying, but you can put it in such a way that it's going to fit whatever you're trying to apply for. So you need to possess that skills. And this is basically what you know and what you can do. It can be technical skill, it can be soft skill. We have a lot of soft skills out there. There are people that are very sound technical wise, but they are very much lacking in terms of soft skill. Okay, now you have the skill. You need to show an evidence. How do you show to people that I have this skill? Okay, it's not just by saying, I know how to use Python. I know how to use Aspen HYSYS. Okay, fine, good. You know how to use it, but we need to see an evidence. So how do you show that evidence? You need to do some form of project. You have to do some form of work, that would kind of provide a result that will prove that you possess that skill. Okay, fine. Now you have that. You have the skill. You have the evidence. Then you need to show it to people, right? That's when visibility comes in. So you need to have, it could be online presence, it could be like a portfolio, which might include your CV and other like GitHub and stuff like that. And it might also be the network, perhaps maybe the people you're able to work with, right? And then if you have all this, then that will lead you to an opportunity. That would now give you the opportunity to grab the job, grab the scholarship, grab the fellowship, grab the internship, and so many opportunities, right? Good. So what most people in general focus only on the skills. Okay, most people are learning skills every day. I know how to communicate. I know how to do. I know how to be a very good team member and stuff like that. But you only know that, right? You have to make people to know that, yes, I know this, and I want you to know I know it, right? Okay. Now, coming back to this, I initially mentioned that how to position yourself without experience, right? But when we say experience, as I said initially, we mean formal experience in this context, because I believe we all have some form of experience. So you don't need experience, meaning you don't need formal or like an experience in a professional setting. Maybe you've not been employed before. Okay, so we would say maybe you don't have any experience, because if you are asked to list professional experience in your CV, for example, you need to say that, oh, I've worked as an intern here, I've worked as an engineer here, stuff like that. So if you don't have all, position yourself, right? So experience is just evidence of ability, right? But then you can also create evidence. You can create evidence. You are in school now, or you've just graduated. You can do a lot of projects. Maybe talking in the concept of people that are in the computing, you have a project and you build maybe a machine learning model that predict housing prices. Now, if you take any machine learning course, for example, in Datacam, in Coursera, or in any other platform, find out that, okay, they give, project or like kind of assignment to people to try out, right? So you try out those projects and then you document it. So that is showing that you possess that skill. It's not just, okay, I've learned how to use Python, but what did you do with it? Do some projects, do some volunteering work. Volunteering work, because most of us, what actually is a big factor for us to tap in opportunities is we don't want to volunteer, because we all are kind of measuring things based on their monetary value. So sometimes if I know that I wouldn't get paid if I do this, then I'll feel like, what's the need for it? I'm not going to do it. But sometimes volunteering work in itself, it's something that would land you like a greater opportunity in the future, because by doing some volunteering work, you like create a portfolio for yourself. You're giving yourself a chance to get a lot of experience. I just gave an example here. For example, you created a mobile app for a local non-profit donation. This is more like in the concept of people that are in the computing as well. But if you do like a volunteering job, trying to be part of like a team in your community that did something as little as maybe community sanitation, right? Because if you're going to do community sanitation, for example, as someone that has or that kind of possesses some form of formal education, you are not going to be the same, or you're not going to have the same experience as other people in the community. What I mean by that is that now you can frame that as like a soft skill, maybe like you work for example, in a team, that you're able to lead a team or you're able to collaborate with other people, execute a certain kind of project. So that's something you can also use, right? Then there are tons of certifications that you can do. Many of them, a lot of them are free now. You have a lot of certifications out there that are free that you can learn something from. So now the problem with people, or with a lot of us, is that we take certifications, fine. We have the certificate, but we don't do anything with it. We just say, okay, we have a certificate, and then you put it on your CV. That's not enough. You need to show some kind of evidence that along the course of any certificate, I've learned something, right? I've learned something, I've did something, or done something. Then you can show that, right? So you just need to build a kind of a portfolio that would show your evidence. You can get that from projects, from volunteering, from certifications. Coming back to project, in your classes, if you're still in school, you're doing some form of coursework, right? Or some form of term project, some form of class assignment. Those are projects, right? It depends on how you put them. Just do them very well and then put them in such a way that they will sound like, oh, I've done something, right? So you do a lot of assignments in school, you do a lot of projects, you do a lot of term project or even group assignment or even anything. What I know is that I've seen people that have in their CV, they are listing all the term projects they did. Term project that we don't take as something or like very much, we don't give it very much weight. People take it, people use that, and they put it in such a way that it looks very nice in their CV, right? They did something in a group and then they put it, right? So it could be a panel project, it could be any group deliverables. So instead of forgetting that you did something, you can have this in your portfolio. It can be in your CV, it can be in your LinkedIn. That I designed a database for a simulated hospital management system. This is just an example, right? You can say maybe I researched or I reviewed a paper on this, and this, or I have devised a lecture note. I'm just giving an example for my juniors in the department. That's something you can use, right? And then it could be anything you could do personally, like side project, you did something from scratch. So the only thing is that don't just list it on your portfolio. Don't just list it. Say something, right? I built a budgeting app used for this. And then it could be anything from like open source, could be research or anything. So these are just examples, right? So let me give an example of weak and strong project description. For example, look at all this. You say I did a project on corrosion. Okay, fine, good. Then what? You understand what I mean? So instead, you could say maybe I modeled corrosion using R, and I tested 3 materials, and at the end of the day, this is the result. Those materials improve the stability, the blah, blah, anything, just put it better, right? Instead of saying, I learned Python and then keep quiet. Okay, everybody learns Python. I mean, I don't have to learn it because there are tons of AIs that I can ask to give me code if that's what we want. So instead of doing that, you could say maybe I built something that this kind of example. So all this, if you look at the left side, these are kind of weak description, while the right side, it's more like a strong description. Okay. Now, talking about volunteering. Volunteering is the same thing as real experience. The only thing I would say, it's maybe you're not getting paid, right? But volunteering is very much underrated, So you can volunteer in student organizations, good. You can volunteer in labs. You can volunteer in NGOs. I just gave an example with also community project. So, for example, if you want to volunteer in student organization, you want to participate in an academic team in your department. This is something you can do, right? You say, I mentored 15 high school students. I mean, this is maybe in your community, right? And then I teach them math, physics, this, and that contributed to like 80% of them passing WAEC, 80% of them passing JAM and stuff like that. So these are all description, right? If, for example, it's a research lab, you say, okay, maybe I contributed to a university lab and we did this in the lab and we're able to co-audit a published journal paper, or we're able to do this. Most importantly, you need to show that you achieved something towards doing that. You achieved something, right? Not just, oh, I did an internship in a research lab, and you did what? Okay. It's not all about going to the lab every week, every day. It's all about impact, what you're able to do in the lab. It could be NGOs and non-profit organizations. It could be community projects. So it's real experience. The only difference is that this is not paid in most cases. Now, there are also certifications you can do. You can take certificates from Google Data Analytics. You can take certificates from, these are called MOCs, right? Certifications. In terms of scholarship, I know one scholarship, So, I mean, most scholarship, they value online courses, but I know one specific scholarship like Erasmus Mundus, I think they value online certifications very well. So online certification is an indication, or it's like it's something that shows that you have some form of initiative to learn, right? But then also, after doing that, what did you learn from that? You need to summarize that in few sentences. That taking these courses, I was able to learn this, and this, right? So you need to show that you are able to kind of apply what you learn in the certificate, right? So basically, it's more like focusing on applied skills, right? Because it's not all about listing. I have this certificate. I have this certificate. Good for you. Okay, nobody cares. You need to say, okay, I have this certificate, but in the process, I'm able to learn this. So, I mean, that's one. So, I mean, those are like what I listed, right? Projects, volunteering, and certifications. Then, talking about visibility and silence. This is where many people fail, maybe including me. I don't know. you might be very good, but no one can see it. No one can see it, right? So you need to show people. You need to make yourself visible. You need to have maybe a LinkedIn profile, and in your LinkedIn profile, you need to update your projects. You need to give an insight of what you're doing. You don't necessarily. This is my belief. I know other people might have a contrary opinion. You don't necessarily have to post on LinkedIn, right? What you need to do to remain active, if you don't like posting, you don't necessarily have to do that. But make sure your profile is very strong. Make your profile very strong and reach out to people. So many people are very, very much responsive on LinkedIn because it's like a professional community, right? So many people are very much responsive on kind of platforms. You can reach out to people. You can also comment on people's achievement. You can also do a lot of things to make yourself visible. If you are doing a lot of computer work or computed, you need to maybe have a GitHub account that's kind of, you have a lot of repositories that's showing the work you did or the work you are doing for people to be able to see. That's the whole point. Make yourself visible. And another way of making yourself visibility is your CV. Salim mentioned in his introduction, you need the first, the online presence or the CV and other things are the post. They're like your messengers. You send them first. They introduce you in the professional community before your physical appearance. So you need to have this, very much active accounts and portfolios. So you maybe you have your CV updated. You have your LinkedIn, which I believe the next speaker is going to talk on how to maximize those or optimize those. So these are, steps to make yourself visible. You need to, get out from that silence box and make yourself visible. Come out, So where to be visible? I mentioned this: LinkedIn, resume, GitHub, or portfolio. Resume is the same thing as CV, yeah? So you have to maybe update headline beyond just a student. Don't just write a student and forget about it, okay? Maybe you need to show something, make yourself visible. Make the title catchy, they say. Make it catchy, make people think that, this is a very, how people put things on LinkedIn, okay? You have to do that as well. It's more of packaging. But, if you don't package yourself, then nobody's going to see you. Okay, you have to package yourself. That's very much necessary. And in your resume, you have to have an optimized version. I think, I believe the next speaker is going to talk about a very good structure for that. And then your GitHub account. Then again, how do you position yourself as a problem solver? So now, this is, you don't have to focus on only describing yourself, right? You need to show your value. You need to show that I can do something. In this world, in the professional world we're in currently, no one hires a degree. Nobody cares because you have a degree. People care if you can solve something. That's when they want you. They want you to do something. If you're applying for a job, organization want to make profit. So they need people that would, help them in doing that. They need people that can solve something. If, for example, you're trying to apply for a grad school, for example, and specifically say, for example, you want to apply for PhD, what's happening in the PhD program, it's more of we have a research and we want to do this research. We want to solve a problem. So we want to hire a person that can do this for us. Okay. So when, for example, admission committee are kind of making decision, they don't just look at your degree. Fine, you have a degree in chemical engineering, you have a degree in biology, perhaps you have a first class. That is good, but that's not exactly, or that's not enough. They want to be sure that you can be able to do the job. You can be able to solve the problem they have. Okay, so instead of saying I studied economics, you could probably say I did something, and then this is the result. Example with business administration, instead of saying I studied business administration, probably need to say something like I built a customer feedback system for a small business that what is the result? That reduce, churn by 8%. So you need to show that. Excuse me? Okay, so these are like steps on how to think like a problem solver. Every project starts with what problem does this solve? What was the result or impact? And then here's the specific value I bring to you. That's what people want to know. Then profile transformation, okay? This is same person, but different perception, right? Framing is everything, or let me say packaging. Packaging is everything. It just depends on how you package yourself. You see a lot of people that have like less achievement than you, but they are landing a lot of opportunities and you are stuck in one place. Why? Because you don't know how to package yourself. So it's all about packaging. Instead of saying I'm a chemical engineering graduate, I'm giving an example of chemical engineering because I studied chemical engineering. So instead of saying I'm a chemical engineering graduate, you could say maybe I'm a chemical engineer that focuses on this. I did this during my undergrad. I did this, and this. Okay, that's better because it's more like this is more of packaging yourself instead of just giving like a vague statement. I have other examples there. So this is same person but different framing. So you need to know how to package yourself. Now, how do you build your story? Okay. Now, you can apply this concept for LinkedIn. You can apply this concept for CV. You can apply this concept for SOP. I don't know if you know what is SOP. It's a statement of purpose. This is an essay you write if you're applying for scholarships or like graduate schools in general. So you can use the same concept, right? How do you put it? You start with what you studied, what you explored, and what you want to solve. People want to know this. You need to answer all this, right? You need to answer all this to make yourself stand out. Good. Then just, this is just jobs versus grad school. This is basically the same thing. But then the way you're going to present yourself to recruiters for jobs, it might be, or most of the times it's a little bit different on how you present yourself to a graduate school application, for example, because this is like an academic committee, and this is more like industry mindset. So industry mindset sometimes is different from like the academic mindset. But basically it's the same person. You have the same kind of experience, but just different kind of framing, So the industry people are more interested in result and what you can give us instantly. We need to see it because at the end of the day we want to maximize profit. But the people in the academia, they are more interested in how curious are you, what kind of research you can do, So basically, and people in the industry, they quantify your work in dollars, in naira, in percentage, in time. What can you do for us? Can you maximize this profit? Is what you would do gonna bring us more money? Is what you will do gonna save us a lot of time? Is it gonna like boost our reputation? That's what they're after, right? But in the academic community, sorry, they are more interested in, you know, can you do this independently? Because those people, they don't have like, you know, kind of immediate expectation like the people in the industry. So it's the same person, the same you, the same experience, but you know, just packaging matters. If I'm applying for, I don't know if the next speaker is going to talk about a little bit difference between industry resume or CV and academic resume or CV. Basically almost the same thing, but just the way you package it. Okay, for jobs specifically, as I said, this is what they want to see. I optimized this, I automated this, I led this, I developed this, instead of saying all this, because it has to be in form of like action verb, right? I did this, we did this, we did this, we did this, we did this, something like that. I mean, if you are writing on your CV, maybe the next speaker is going to talk about it. You don't need the I am saying, okay? Then for grad school, I also gave an example. Instead of saying, I did this, this is going to focus more on the curiosity aspect of it, and in the research direction instead of in the, you know, industry direction. So basically, they are, you know, the same thing, but just different framing. Again, the same thing, just also hammering on the same thing. Job framing, grad school framing, basically almost the same thing. Just two narratives, same thing. So I mean, having discussed all this, as I said, all these things are actionable. So these are things you can start this week. These are things you can start even today. If you're already a graduate, don't just stay and be waiting for a job from, I don't know, within the lab. So don't just do that, right? Don't just sit and wait for, you know, that politician in your community or that uncle that is in Abuja to ask for your CV. You need to start something, you know, make yourself visible. Start the hustle by yourself. If along the way something called the uncle in Abuja asks you to bring your CV and able to get the job, fine. If you're not able to get that, hustle for it. You know, hustle for it yourself. Start doing something. Start doing a project. Start making yourself visible. Start learning something, you know, and then also sit with yourself. Maybe every week, have a weekly review on your achievement, on what you did. Basically, it's, you know, do a lot of yourself for yourself. Also, there are common mistakes that actually limit our progress. Number one is waiting. Sometimes all of us, this is what we call procrastination, right? We wait too much. We delay until the right time. There is no right time. Now is the right time, okay? We sometimes we decide not to do a lot of things. Maybe we say, maybe, oh, I would start doing this after graduation. And then by the time you graduate, man, others already have 2 years of visible work, okay? And what also kills us is overthinking. You know, sometimes we keep on thinking on the same thing. We spend a lot of time planning. Instead of doing that, start something. If you start anything, then you have more direction. You see it. You start seeing the end of it. But if you keep on planning and doing nothing, you're going to stop there. You're not going to do anything. You're not going to achieve anything. Then another thing is inconsistency, which is a disease for most of us. I know a lot of people that start an online course, they do the first module, second module, and then bye-bye. They start another one, they do the first module, second module, nothing. So that kills a lot, inconsistency, okay? Don't start so many things or too many things at the same time. You know, you can start small. If it's difficult for you to start and finish a course that requires 40 hours, you can start with a course that requires 2, 3, 4 hours and finish it. Just, divide the steps. We need consistency, right? There is the Prophet ﷺ that says, the best of actions are the ones that are consistent, right? Even if they are small, right? Good. So just so you know, my take home, you are not starting from zero. You have something. The only thing you need to do is start packaging. You have a lot of coursework. Those are evidence that you can do something. Those are evidence that you know something. You are in some clubs, maybe you have some leadership experience. Those are evidence already. You're not starting from zero. You have something. All you need to do is package it, frame it, show it, and build on it. And you have to start doing that now. Okay, final take. Pick a project, improve it, and share it. Thank you so much. I am open for questions as well. I don't know if it's now or after the next speaker has finished his own session.
Yes, thank you very much. Inshallah, the Q&A session will come after the other speaker have spoken.
Yes, please, and they can start dropping the questions in the chat box. And I believe Engineer Kona is going to drop the slide there, as I can see. Many of the mentees, even the mentors, are happy with the slide, so that we can also go through it again. Yeah, I think the second speaker is also ready.
Jazakumullahu khairan, Wakil Salis, and Jazakumullahu khairan, Engineer Kona, that wonderful presentation. I'm sure we've taken a lot from that. We're going to benefit a lot from that. And as he said, it's not just about listening and going like that. These are things that you can start acting on immediately. So the ball is in our court to start acting immediately. Inshallah, without taking much time again, I'll hand over to the next speaker to take us through the foundation aspect of today's topic. That's the tools that we're going to use to position ourselves. Over to you, Muhammad Musa Abu Bakr. Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
I hope I'm audible to each and every participant on the call. And I'll start by saying thank you to Abdul Malik. Sorry, he did a very good job in terms of providing the theoretical aspect as well as the expo to packaging, more of how to present yourself. For me, my topic today is setting up a winning CV and a professional LinkedIn account. I have chosen not to go the route of a presentation. I'll use the time available to practically run through some of these things. So I would urge each and every one of us on the call to please pay attention to their screen. I will share my screen, step by step, go through the processes together with you. And at the tail end, I hope that is something you can go home with to start your CV or start building a professional LinkedIn profile. So without any further ado, I would share my screen. I've sequenced my conversation with you today to capture basically 4 key areas, but I'll walk us straight. I just want a confirmation now if any one of you can see my screen.
Yes, sir, we can see.
Okay, great. Okay, let's start by, I know this is a stupid question, but how many of you have a standard CV on ground at the moment? Just indicate by maybe raising your hand. You don't need to respond. Maybe you can take a stock count, like let's say 3 people. 6, 7, okay, 14. We're over 100 and something on the call, so this is going to be interesting. More of like primary data that we can source for the foundation. So this will help us gauge where we are now currently, and at some point in time, how many of us maybe will get 100%. So I can see 21 people at the moment. So it's fair. At least I know 20 something people are paying attention. I'll just quickly, again, let me join it together. Do you have a professional CV and a professional LinkedIn account? I just want you to think about it. Ask yourself that question. So I can see hands dropping and going back up again. 26, 27, 26, 27, 24. So a lot of people are dropping their hands again. Okay. 23. It's dropping. So clearly there's a disjoint from this simple survey. So it's either you don't have a CV, one, and you don't have a LinkedIn profile, or you have a CV but you don't have a LinkedIn profile. And I can see here 22 people have both in a call of 100 and something. Just a quick one. Anyways, so I would start by basics. So where do you go when you want to get your CV? Simple thing a lot of people don't really pay attention to is basic Microsoft Word. I hope my screen is still showing because I'm using the web version. Please, can someone confirm? Is it
Yes, sir, it's showing.
Okay, great. So if you go to Microsoft Word, and I can already see you come to new on Microsoft Word, it gives you templates that you can use to modify or change it into something that can be your CV. So something as, let me just click on this, for example. This is an attorney CV, handworking resume. It gives you structure around that. And in fact, if you are not impressed with what you have here, you can come to templates and search here. Just put resume and see what comes up. So I'm searching from thousands of online templates, and it's giving me this. So you can see a lot of artistic templates that you can leverage. Now, I'm going to show you a few probably. Just please refrain from using your images in your CVs, except if it is requested for, or except if you're along the lines of digital marketing or other professions where you need to do that. So let's take this, for example. This is an organized modern resume. Let's click create. It's downloading the template, and voila, you have the template in front of your screen. So you can see your name, your role, the objective, experience, communication, leadership, references. Here you have skills, awards. It's just a template. Now, why I'm saying this is at least you have an idea of where to get templates that you can work with in terms of aesthetics and backgrounds. But I'm going to dive into what I would say is maybe a way I break down CVs. So I'm going to go into, okay, this is good, have a template, but I don't want to work with this. I want to work with something that is suited to a certain scenario. So for example, in terms of CVs, the way I break it down is you have CV for non-experienced people. That means if you're out of school, you do not necessarily have work experience, except maybe your IT, if you're going to use that, or your NYSC, which are not full-time based roles. They're just internship level roles and might not necessarily carry a lot of weight in the conversation. So how do you build a CV with that constraint? That's one thing. Then the second thing is there are also CV types or formats, right? I'm going to walk us through ATS, friendly CVs. What ATS means is application tracking systems. These are recruitment systems that have the ability to absorb CVs, to digest the information, and select the best candidate that is fit for the role, right? Then you also have some selected institution CVs. Some institutions request the way they want their CVs to be. That can also serve as a basis for you to build from. The institutions like African Union, European Union through their Europass. Then again, I think the former previous speaker spoke about it, academic CVs. again, because there's a clear difference between a professional and academic CV. So we're going to look at that as well. So without any further ado, I'm going to jump into, let's see, which one is this? This is the ATS sample. So this is a sample of an ATS CV that I picked up. So the idea of an ATS CV is to meet a format that the tracking system can quickly pick and give you a grade because it reads your CV. So here you have your name, your phone number, professional email, LinkedIn account, city, state. Don't go and put your full address, please. Just put a city or state, except in scenarios where it is clearly stated that you need that. That is to protect yourself from data privacy issues, because sometimes, especially in Nigeria, when you submit your CV or something, they toss it out and an individual can see your phone number, your email address, your exact location, and your full name. You don't know what that individual can do with that information. So you have to be very, very, very careful. Now, you see here, first thing that is captured is education, because here that is where you speak to what you have studied, blah blah blah. The system is interested in knowing what do you fit that criteria that was set up, because most job applications you see, maybe we're looking for an electrical engineer, current certified, blah blah blah, boom boom boom, MSc, BSc, HND. This is what the system is going to start looking out for, your education criteria. You can add your CGPA here, just to include it. You can see optional. It's optional to include what your CV actually, your CGPA, sorry. But then I would advise you to do that because it adds weight to it. Ideally, it should just be your class of degree, your graduation month, the state, because all these are factored in when you're looking at opportunities that have a certain age threshold, maybe below 26 and below or something like that. It's going to weigh and see when you graduated, how early. All this add into how you score or your rating on your CV. Again, the area of work experience is the next thing. If you have work experience, fine. If you don't have work experience and you have done internships, please also include them. But the manner in which you include them is very important. You need to indicate that these are not full-time roles. These are non-paid roles, for example, or paid roles. But you need to clarify, okay, what the organization is, what your role is. You can see here, your position title, your organization, highlight accomplishments. Did you accomplish? Accomplishments could be your day-to-day activities that you carried out. What projects were you part of when you were in the organization, right? And then what are the success metrics? Performed X by doing Y, resulting in Z. If you can quantify to that level, that will also be a stronger suit. Then, what are some of the things that you helped, assisted, or were responsible for? Again, it moves here along the lines. You do that for different fields that you have. After this, your certifications, some things that come up. So here is a section header. You might choose to include interesting features about you, interesting things that you have done before, or associations that you have led, or other stuff. That can kind of come under this area here where we have section header. In terms of your certifications, very, very critical. Previous speaker spoke about it, especially if you're in tech, other stuff. But here I would advise you put the name of the certification, the period when it expires, blah, blah, blah. But additionally, it's not going to hurt if you add what abilities that certification has given you. That's valuable information. Here, in terms of technical skills, here I would even qualify it as technical soft skills, because these are skills that you need to have in day-to-day, work activities. Maybe things like using tools, PowerPoint, Word, Excel, the project management tools, HubSpot, other stuff. Just think about it along the lines of your career and how it aligns to it. So basically that's it. Additional information here could include, this is for if you have if you have work experience, and prior to your work experience, you have had internship experience, please include them here in the sections below. So this is just like a standard template. When you send your CV out on this, ideally it should be not more than 2 pages. That's the record. It's in some cases you can exceed 2 pages, but ideally it should be ATS standard should be 2 pages. And then the system can process it and cook it up and give you a grading, and then you can proceed through the phases of recruitment. Next is, this is an academic CV, actually, but then it captures in your work experience. Again, you see here the similarity between this and ATS is that you're starting with education and qualifications, similar to what you have under ATS, which the first is education, right? So here you're starting with education, next work experience, similar thing with ATS work experience. So clearly you can see here within the two layers, right, you have an agreement, an alignment, your education, work experience. But I would also add something that would come before this at a particular point. Maybe we'll see it in other CVs, which is kind of your professional summary, right? If you have built some years of experience, it is good to add a professional summary where you speak about, okay, this is who you are, this is what you have done in brief, before the individual starts looking at the experiences and everything. I'm going to scroll down here. Additional information, your interests, your achievements, list of academic achievements, blah, 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 your nationality, your language. This is simple. I got this from Oxford. So this is Oxford Standard. You can kind of see the adverts, the examples that are being used. So clearly you can build and model your CV around this. It's just to take it simple. Take a structure that you have, aesthetically pleasing on Microsoft Word, for example. Get a sample resume or CV. Take the content, fit it within that particular template that you want to use. Put in the information that relates to you, and blah, you have a good CV. Here, I think this has a couple of CV samples, actually. That's why I took it. Please. So you're going to see functional experienced CV, summary of qualifications. Here, I would substitute this for professional experience, professional summary or professional, intro, where you have well organized, blah, 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 professional, with blah, 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 blah. Again, here, critical thing, you see that education comes first before your professional or work experience or professional accomplishments. Very, very critical. Again, critical thing here, I see here the individual has used his or her complete address, but please, our advice again, refrain from using that, especially in this day and age. Just use the city and your location. It suffices. Work history, professional affiliations, if you belong to ICANN, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Computer skill sets you have. Again, this is for like functional experience. Here, the idea is to give you just a bird's eye overview, and you build this to your own taste with your own experiences, and then you can see a CV coming out of this. Again, in terms of internships, yeah, this can suffice. Here, I think the important thing to look out here is the objective. Now, this is different from normal professional CVs because here you have a reason why you want to do that internship. And honestly, if organizations or when organizations are recruiting for internships, they want to know the reason why you're doing that, because in the ideal cases, it builds that rationale behind why they're doing that, because then they can have like a load down of why they have certain people doing their internships. Again, here you see education comes first before your work history, which is I think the standard pattern we have been observing. Again, just a pointer. In situations where you feel your experience is not that much, you can add community service if you have done some. That is also a way to kind of win the hearts of recruiters. It shows your ability to get involved in things beyond just what you are told to do, because community service is voluntary and you're able to carry that along. Additional value, this comes in forms of skills, that you have, be it soft or hard skills, you can use them here. Again, one thing that we have not seen across this, our lookout for CVs, is referencing. In some cases, individuals say available on request. In some cases, individuals put that information there, name, email address, for example, and the individual's role or title, this organization and role or title. Those 4 things are critical things that you can add to your referees, if in case you want to have a physically present and you don't want the back and forth. This is called a chronological CV. I wouldn't advise you to use that. This was always used a long time ago, to be honest. But still, you see how it's structured, similar to the ones above. But chronological means things are coming in sequence that they should be built in. So, for example, you see education, experience, everything is working according to a timeline. It's very, very difficult to do that to a large extent, because then in your professional experience you have blah 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 blah, but then your educational experience also comes in a way that, okay, you show where it started, bam bam bam, and you're continuing to go in a chronological order. You have to stick to the order. For example, for me, when I'm doing my own resume, like my current work of place has to be place of work has to be here, and sometimes I start with my BSc first before my NS, my MBA, because it's an ongoing program that I'm doing now. So I've not completed it, so that's why I don't want to put it first. So these are some of the things that you see and consider. That's why I think this is a bit shaky. Functional, this is not for an internship, but it still has an objective. Maybe you're a recent graduate, and you want to apply for graduate trainee positions. And I'm going to come to an interesting part about this at the later phases when we see LinkedIn. But you want to apply for graduate trainee positions, you should have the rationale why you want to get, because it's a trainee program. It's not an internship, it's an employment, but at the basic level where you're starting. So you need to indicate your goals and objectives for joining that particular program, because the idea is they train you before you transition into the role that you're going to join or be part of. So it's good to have that. Again, here there's a slight deviation, because here you have professional profile, blah, 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 and then professional skills and experience before education, which it's permissible, but then I think I would prefer education first before work experience. Anyways, you have technical experience, professional skills, then before you even have work experience. So this is a bit disjoint, to be honest, because even here, this is not your work experience. These are your professional skills and experiences before you then come into your work experience. So education still comes before work experience, only with a few modifications above. Military. Do we have any military personnel here? I don't know. But then I'm going to skip this because of time, to be honest. And in fact, this is education and training, blah, 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 management. A lot of you might have seen CVs that come in this format where you have a lot of ticks, blah, blah, blah. I personally don't like them, to be honest. But then again, you can use this. You can use this. It's very incredible. You have your work experience, significant accomplishments that you have done within your work, blah, blah, blah. Then education comes. You have your technical knowledge and references available. So please, I'm gonna find a way to share this particular document so that you have options in terms of how you're gonna kind of cook up your CV. But before that, there's something I wanted to show. Not this one. You have to switch to Word. Okay, this very interesting. This is Europass. So these are for if you're looking at European Union related organizations or just across international organizations within that particular terrain. This is something that, this is how they want you to build information. They give you this template, and then you take the template and you fill the necessary information that is supposed to be there. It's simple, easy, and straightforward. This is how they want their CVs to be. So for personally, for me, I use this format because along the international development space line, you have to find what works for you, and predominantly these are the things that work for you. So I think it's also good to have that understanding that some organizations would provide CVs. If you go to African Union, for example, I think I have that open to apply for a job, and you submit your CV, automatically you're not getting that job because you have not used the CV format. You need to download the CV template, put in your information, and then you would be eligible for those roles. So a lot of people don't know this. They apply and then they don't get any response. Their CVs are good, but then they did not follow the instructions, because then the system cannot read your CV and then it throws it out completely. We're in a world of AI and technology. Everybody wants to make things easy for themselves. So why do they need to go through a CV? They have a system that can give them the top 5 CVs. So they create a structure and you follow the structure. If you're part of it, you get called. So same thing for Europass, just to save time. I think I've discussed this. If there's any questions or anything, please feel free to leave them in the chat box. I'm going to drop the initial document here. I think this resume samples. I'm going to drop it on the chat as well by the end of this call. An important thing that a lot of people probably make mistakes about is sometimes when you apply for jobs, they ask you for a cover letter. I have a sample cover letter. This is an individual that is a friend of mine, so he wanted to do a cover letter, and I asked him to craft something up, and he created this. It's not bad, but then I'm going to show you the difference between this and a standard cover letter. Okay, so this blah 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 cover letter for position of program assistant protocol. I'm writing to Express. I'm going to highlight this, right? And the thing is, this is good. It's not bad because here clearly the individual is stating the purpose, and that's where you need to start your cover letter with. Start your cover letter with, I am writing to. This is your purpose. This is what you're doing. This is what it's very, very critical to have that. Here, the attempt here is to provide a background, which is kind of background or context for you as an individual. What are you doing? Information about your career that you can put to sell yourself. That is what is happening here. Again, here it's a bit of qualification. It goes to the body. You are qualifying the background you have provided here. And then what do you qualify it with? You qualify it with your, again, sprinkle a lot of things from your career, your skills, as well as maybe any other one or two academic stuff that you can kind of just throw in there. Then you'd see here I'm particularly drawn. The idea of starting with particularly drawn here is providing the motivation, again, or the objective, or what the purpose is for trying to be part of the motivation, the rationale, the desire for applying for that role. That is what's here. You can join it together with this, because here I'm confident in blah blah blah, boom boom boom. It's still showcasing that motivation and desire. And then blank conclusion. So it kind of gives you a structure for a cover letter. So like, just to reiterate, the purpose, start with the purpose. This is the first paragraph here. Then the second thing is your background or information about your career, your skills, your academics. The third paragraph, you're qualifying that with some sprinkled information. Here you're providing, in the fourth paragraph, you're providing the motivation, the rationale, the desire for that particular role. You're qualifying it as well here in the fifth paragraph. And then the last thing, you're concluding. So this is a structure that he sent me, and we had a conversation on this. I'm going to move to a proper cover letter now. Where is it? Okay, so this is a proper cover letter. You know who you're addressing. There's an address, there's a name, there's a title. Then, dear hiring manager, I'm writing to Express, blah, 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 blah. You have to be as detailed as possible. Then this is the introduction. This is the background. In my current role, I do this. Prior to joining this, I did this. All this is proper background. Now, here, I've made a case for myself. So I switch into where my weakness is. I recognize blah, 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 blah within this region, right? I made that case and mitigated what possibly they could see as the only gap in my CV. Then here I come to speak about my academic qualifications, my skill sets, and then what I bring to the team. Very, very important. What are you bringing to the team? Right? And then with that, I just decided to close out. I would welcome the opportunity to discuss blah, blah, blah. Boom, I'm good. So clearly you can see the difference. Here there's a structure in terms of letterhead, kind of, it's a mini letterhead actually, where you put your name and your email address, blah, blah, blah. The dates, the individual you're targeting. If you don't have a name, you can put it as the HR department of so. Application for this, dear hiring manager, blah, 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 and you get to it. Very, very critical. If you have a CV and you don't have a cover letter, it's like you're working with a leg and a half. Let me put it that way. Because then if you're applying for roles, especially in the private sector, you're going to be left out a lot if you don't have a proper cover letter. So I believe I've discussed this. It's something, again, that each and every one of you should take a shot at. At this juncture, I will jump into LinkedIn. So this was difficult. When I was told to talk on LinkedIn, I didn't know exactly what to talk on, because as a graduate, recent graduate, or somebody in school, right? It's like any social media. The only difference is here you have with social media, instead of seeing interest of individuals, which some of it is present here, but instead of seeing interest of individuals, blah, 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 here it's more career oriented, where you have individuals posting about what they have done in their place of work, posting about job opportunities. It's a network for professionals. That's just it. That's it. So, but I did a deep dive, thought of it, and then there are some things I would introduce you to. I see from the baseline, again, a lot of people were dropping their hands when I asked for LinkedIn. You need to get a LinkedIn profile. You need to be part of it because it gives you information. The most dangerous thing you can do is to not have information, because automatically you're handicapped. There are a lot of opportunities that you're equipped for, but because you don't have that information, you miss out. So it's not just opening LinkedIn. How do you get that information? How do you filter that? So basic things I called out were job search feature. How do you optimize that? Your alert management system. How do you optimize alerts that come in as through your email that a job opening is ready? How do you use Easy Apply? There's a feature called Easy Apply. We're going to go through that. And then how do you optimize, apart from just following people, connecting with people, how do you optimize usage in terms of bringing the best out of content that you'd want to see on your timeline? So I'll start with the jobs feature. Here, there's, okay, so this automatically, based on search optimization, whatever, blah, 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 it has called up some selected jobs that LinkedIn feels I'm a fit for, okay? But then that's not what I want to do here today. I want to show you how to search. So I'm going to do something like this. Let me just put Lagos, just as an example. It's loading. Okay, this is the interface I want you to see. Walaikum salam.
Apologies, sorry to interrupt, just to call your attention to time.
Okay, yeah, this is the last part. I'm going to summarize. This is the last part. I'm going to summarize. Okay, so again, here we have jobs, distance between your location and the job, date it was posted. I'm just trying to show you how to use the filters to bring it out. I'm looking for a job that has been posted in the past 1 week. Level of experience that I'm looking for, maybe let's say mid senior level. What company do I have? Company? No, I'm not. I don't. Do I need a remote job, hybrid or on-site? I need on-site and remote. Then I search. Then it's gonna give me, these are the jobs. And then I go through, I search. I'm going to segue into Easy Apply. So here, as you're scrolling, you're gonna see this has Easy Apply feature. You go down, this also has Easy Apply feature. So I'm gonna select this one. Just click on it. So it has Easy Apply. You go down, you read what are some of the things that's about the job. The financial services company, seeking a business development representative, what you will do. These are your job functions, right? You read them, you analyze, you see if you fit that. Solutions that you help clients navigate. So because you're client facing, these are areas where they want you to help clients navigate. You scroll down, blah, that's it. Okay, so you feel you are qualified for this job. Easy Apply feature gives you a quick access where LinkedIn manages this application. If I click on it, for example, it gives me my name, my email address, blah, blah, blah. I proceed to the next one. My CVs are already here. If I want to put a new one, I upload a new resume, right? Based on that particular, I go next. These are additional questions that LinkedIn expects me to answer. And then I answer them. I click on review. Because I've not answered them, I can't proceed. But if you click on review, the next thing you're going to do is just to see the final outcome, and then bam, you send your application, and it gives you a message that you have applied for that particular job, right? So I'm going to discard this because I don't need this. This is where the job search feature is. I'm going to go back to home again, right? An important feature that a lot of people don't use, which is important, is groups. So groups. Here you have groups. These are where you connect with like minds. Africa Oil and Gas Network, we have 259,000 members. When you're part of this group, a lot of oil and gas posts will be coming to you, including jobs, internships, opportunities. So it's good to optimize. You create groups where you belong. Harvard Business Review, Nigeria Business Network, Lagos Abuja. So these are like groups that you need to be kind of optimized, be part of, and then you're going to get a lot of information to that effect. Other than that, please, one last thing. I'm going to just show this. No, not this. So how do your profile in terms of like what it should look like? So some simple, you don't need a heavy message. I am so professional. That is not cool, because you expect that whoever is looking at you is pressed for time, has a short attention span, and so you just create something, a tagline with your areas of interest. You build your profile around that, and then about is where you put that information. You're so, and then voila, you post and you do other stuff. So at this juncture, I think I would call it quits because I'm short of time. But thank you very much for paying rapt attention to this, and I hope you have gained a lot from this. Sorry, let me fulfill my promise of sharing this on the chat. Let me see if I can do that now. Okay, I believe I should be able to do that. I think the moderator, you can take over from I'll just drop it in the chat. Thank you very much.
Initially, I would also have to commend the way the session was very interactive, the way it's practical. Personally, for me, as he was going through the session, I was actually making some changes to my own LinkedIn account. To my own CV was actually opened as he was talking. Yeah. And
sorry, just to come, I would share it with the convener, Mohammed Salis, to please share with everyone, because I cannot what do you call it? I cannot share it due to some restrictions because of from the computer I'm using. But I'll drop it with our convener here on the call, and he should be able to circulate it with us as well. Thank you.
Yeah, inshallah. Thank you very much. So the next point on our agenda, I'm sure both speakers have done justice to the topic, to today's topic, and I've not seen a lot of questions on the chat box, so perhaps some people would like to ask their question directly. We are now going to move into the Q&A session. If you have a question, to ensure everything is organized, just kindly raise your hands. We'll give you the go ahead to unmute and ask your question. You can also drop the question in the chat box, and the speakers will address them.
So, Madam Salim, I don't know if you are going to start with the one we have in the chat box and direct it to the speaker. exactly the speaker that is asked to address the question.
Sure, please, can you go ahead with that? Okay, you can go ahead with that, please, while I.
So I don't know. Malam Malik, I think he's following us with the questions. So I don't know the one which I can start with, but I believe he has seen the
To be
questions, so he
honest,
can
I
start
did
addressing them.
not read. To be honest, I wasn't following the chat, so I
Oh yeah.
maybe I can just follow it now. I
So
don't
one of
know.
the
Maybe this
questions
is
is,
for me.
yeah.
It says, how can we put our younger ones to prepare for their portfolio right from the university? Yeah, that's a good question. So, I mean, I already mentioned that, and in parallel also the Mohammed has already has said something about that as well. So in the if you are currently in the university, I said what you need to do, right? Try and maximize the opportunity you have currently. You are already there, and there are like projects, class projects, course projects that are given to you, for example. So you can use that to your own advantage instead of just doing the project for the sake of this is maybe an assignment or our lecturer asked us to do this and then you just want to do it and submit and go. You can use that, package it very well, have a document of it, and make sure maybe you start drafting your CV, for example, at LinkedIn, even if you're in the university. So the way some people do it is, a lot of people do it, I know, after like achieving any task given to them, be it in the university or any other place, if it has to do with like the professional community or professional setting, what they do to document what they work is to just like post it on LinkedIn, celebrate it. I mean, it's worth it. You need to celebrate your achievement at least. So that's how some people do it. But others or other people can decide to, do it well, document it, and just make sure it's in their CV and have like we have a lot of free storage nowadays. If you have a Google account, you have a lot of storage. If you are, for example, a BFS mentee, you have a lot of cloud storage that BFS has given you the opportunity to have. So you can also document that. So, and also there are a lot of communities in the university. You can decide to join them. But make sure they are like, relevant communities. You know what you want in the future. So make sure you join communities that will give you the opportunity to have something towards your like, longer term goal. So I think that is basically how you can maybe advise the younger ones, as you mentioned, in the university, which I believe most of us are still in the university. So yeah, I don't know if that answers the question.
Okay, sir, that's fine. I think we have another question for you before we move to Madam Muhammad. Yeah, this one is saying many students, especially recent graduates, are unsure about pursuing graduate degrees because of the uncertainty that comes with advancement in AI. What will you advise
Right.
to mitigate this?
Well, I am not sure if I get the question, but I don't know who asked the question. He can maybe elaborate, but I can still answer something, right? So if you're thinking about the uncertainty that comes with I think you're not going to do anything in your life because AI is everywhere. you know. So the best thing you need to do in this era of AI is to know how to use AI. You know, you need to know how to use AI. I mean, because of AI, people will still go to school. People will not stop going to school because there is AI. People go to school to even learn AI. Okay, so saying uncertainty that comes with advancement, I'm not sure what you mean by that, but you still can go to school, learn about AI, use AI in like the most effective way in school, and then you would stand out. I guarantee you will stand out. So you have to use AI for sure, but the only thing you need to do now is to know how to use AI effectively to your advantage. So because of AI, I don't think it will harm you going to the graduate school. You can still go to graduate school. The AI will still be there. Use the AI to your own advantage and learn as much as possible. So going to grad school, applying for a job, AI wouldn't stop any of them. So learn how to use it.
Thank you, sir. I think we have the last question for you from Abdul Majid Ali. He's saying, how do a portfolio document look like? Is portfolio a document or simply a section in your CV or resume? Please enlighten us more because it strengthens Erasmus Mundus scholarship and other scholarships application.
Portfolio is just like an English word. It depends on how you actually put it. So even the CV, like the collection of your document, can be done as portfolio, and it's just an English word. So I'm not. What's the question again? Sorry, trying to explain and I forget the question.
How do a portfolio document look like? Is portfolio a document or simply a section in your CV?
I think I've answered that. I think I've answered that then. Thank you.
Oh yeah. So for Malam Muhammad, I don't know if you're with us. This question I think is for you. We have this one is saying what is the difference between a CV and a resume?
Okay, assalamu alaikum. The difference is in the level of details. Typically, a resume, it's not expected to have much details, probably just a page or two. A resume is made most of the time for individuals that have not yet, joined the professional space. Early school leavers, for example, those are individuals that prepare a resume. CV is much more detailed, be it academic or professional. There's a lot of other components, and you can blow it up to include more details than usual. So to a large extent, like I said, it's good to just have both. To a large extent, yes. Even as a professional, it's good to have a concise 1 to 2 page kind of CV or resume, right? Something that is quite concise, and then it's good to also have the large one that can be 5-10 pages, depending on you. So I would, in a nutshell, it's just the level of content within it. Resume is shorter, much more brief, straight to the point for young professionals that are just coming up, while CV is much more detailed, elaborate, and has information sets that are how would I put it, unending. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Someone is also asking, Zakia, if I am in a mentorship course like BFS, also in a leadership course and digital course like data analysis, is it possible to be posting simultaneously all the progress I have made in the courses on my LinkedIn?
Fantastic question. Yes, but then there is a limitation to which I would advise you to do that. So as you're posting this, you have to be conscious of your digital footprint. You have to be conscious if these projects are sensitive projects, that those information might not necessarily be advised to be public. So, but then in terms of posting your gains, in fact, LinkedIn has a feature where you can post your academic gains or certifications or trainings that you have done. And it comes out like a proper training certificate, a proper training post that says I have obtained a certificate and so from, it states that if it is Udemy that you have done that course in, Coursera, blah blah blah, you have that feature. LinkedIn has that feature, and as you're doing this, of course, it's adding it to your qualifications section within LinkedIn. So it's in tandem, it's a system, and whoever is willing to recruit you can look into that and see that you have the necessary certifications there without even asking you for it. In fact, some people go as far as even putting pictorial evidence of their certificates from certain projects, like PMP certification, on LinkedIn, because then the individual recruiter can see that, yes, I have this certification and it's valid, it's not expired, and they can reach out to me. So yeah, but just be cautious of putting projects that are maybe detail sensitive and clear with the institutions or organizations that you're doing such projects for. But completely valid.
Yeah, thank you. I think even though we are looking at the time, but I'm going to read only the remaining 3 questions, which 2 of the questions is for you and 1 is for Engineer Okuna. For your information, I've also dropped the resume sample that Madam Muhammad promised to send. I have sent it now in the chat box, and also I'll be dropping that of Engineer Okuna now. So, Madam Muhammad, someone is also asking that, okay, when applying for a job that my CV contains some of my achievements, but that are not related to the job, am I expected to update my CV based on how it matches the job?
So, fantastic question. It is always good to update your CV for every role. That's why I advise you. The reason why you have that is because there are some advantages that maybe a particular CV will give you, that if you tweak it if you use it for another role without tweaking it, it will not give you that advantage. So regularly it is good to update that. So you said, I'm applying for a job and my CV contains some achievements that are not related to the job. So why do you need to put those achievements there? You can put them as a subset, but they should not be the main thing that the individual is seeing. It can be just a line or a text that shows that. But always tweak your CV, make it fit for purpose, make it fit for the role. A lot of people use this tactic these days where you see a role that you're applying for. You take the job description of the role, you put it on AI, and you put your CV and you tell it to score you. Just that basic thing, score you 5/10, 10, and it gives you areas for improvement. And then you can go and rework it based on that. In some cases, you can use the AI again. I'm not against that, but then just know that if you go to a serious place and they fish out AI using your CV, again, it's going to be dropped. So please be careful how you do it. But please, for every role that you're applying for that has different peculiarities, make sure you capture that. So it means regularly updating your CV, having version 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If it is related to this particular sector, this is your CV. It is related to this particular sector, this is your CV. So please just bear that in mind so that you gain more footing in getting opportunities. Thank you.
Yes, sir. The last question. You said that you gave an example with AU, how they want their CV. Does each agency has their own kind of CV, or how they want it to look like?
So great question once again, but I think maybe you misinterpreted me. I said for selected organizations. For selected organizations. So it's not for all organizations. And I provided those examples because those organizations want their CVs in some certain formats. For example, like I said, AU, African Union, CV, they have their own CV template. So you download it when you're applying for the job and you fill it in and you put it back on the system. You don't just use your normal CV that you created. Again, European Union, they call it Europass. So you can use that structure to build your own personal CV for your other jobs. But when it comes to specific organizations like that, you have to comply with their CV standards. So you also have to be mindful that This happens when you're applying for a job. Do they have a CV standard? Do they have a template that you can work with? If it's not available, fine, you can use your own CV template. I would advise you to use ATS, just a brief, quick one, if it is on a portal or something. That way the technology can do its stuff. So, but then other than that, please just be mindful. These are for specific selected institutions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Jazakumullah khairan. Inshallah, we'll be concluding in 5 minutes. I think the last question, all other questions are going to be addressed in the group, inshallah. So the last question is for Engineer Okona. I don't know if he's still with us. They are asking, what can you advise to the person who graduated for the past 6 years ago, and also for some people that have almost a blank CV, especially those from engineering? What can you advise?
I don't know if the question is like the same. I mean, the second part is the continuation of the first one, or they are different. So for people that have graduated maybe in the last, 6 years ago, I mean, it depends on what you've been doing since graduation. Have you been engaging yourself in professional work? Then good, you have something to show. If not, then you should start now. Okay, start something. Even though some people, like some recruiters or like admission committee, they look at your CV, and if they see a gap, they ask question, why the gap, right? So if you have been doing something like professionally, it's just like packaging. You need to find a way to package it, to present yourself that you've learned something. But if you've not been doing anything, then you should start doing something. If they see curiosity that you're maybe currently active doing something, and you show that curiosity, I mean, we never can tell. You know, they can decide to recruit you, they can decide to give you that admission. So that's my advice. Start doing something. But if you've been doing something in the professional community, find a way to package it, right? Malam Muhammad mentioned something. If you are putting things on, every CV should be different. You know, there is no generic CV, I believe. It depends on what you are applying, okay? So what you are applying would now determine how you're going to package your experience. That is that. So talking about blank CV, that is if the questions are different. Blank CV, I don't know what is blank CV, because I believe you should have something to add, you know. I understand what you mean by blank CV. Blank CV, it's in a situation whereby, now that Malam Muhammad was explaining CV, you would think that I don't have anything to put here. I don't have any experience. I don't have anything to add. No, you do have something. It just depends on how you think, okay? You just need to know how to put that thing to present yourself. And at the same time, do more. Start doing something so that your CV will not be blank from now to next year. Thank you.
Jazakumullah khairan, Engineer Okona. I think we just have 2 to 3 minutes. But before then, I have already also dropped the presentation for Engineer Okona, both in this group and your WhatsApp group. So before we have takeaways for this presentation, we cannot just allow you to come and join and leave like that. So I'm not sure if Engineer Salim, you are with our takeaways or expectations from the mentees that we are expecting from them before next week. This is what we are expecting. As we can see, next steps, that is the mandatory actions for BFS mentees. So each and every mentee, even with those who joined us now and those who are not available, since we have the recording, and also we are going to be posting the video on our YouTube channel, and we are going to be sharing the link with you. This is the expectations, what we are expecting from you guys at most in a week, that you have to create or update curriculum vitae, that is your CV. Each and every one of you must have a CV in 1 week coming, please. You have to be using the template sent to you and make sure that you have updated if you have one. Second is that you have to open or update your LinkedIn account. If you don't have any LinkedIn account, you have to create one before in 7 days. Or if you have one, you have to update it to the standard, at least from the explanation we just had. And the third is connect with mentor and submit proof of compliance. Okay, you have to submit your CV and LinkedIn link to your mentor, both the two mentors, mentor 1 and 2, for advice and for correction, so that they ensure that, okay, yeah, my mentee's CV is up to standard, and also his LinkedIn account. So these are the expectations for today's presentation or lecture or webinar that we are expecting from all mentees, and they have to comply with all this in a week, so that we know that, okay, what these are wonderful presenters presented for us today has its own impact on all the mentees. So Jazakumullah khairan, and Madam Salim, you can take over. If everything is fine, then we can go to the closing prayer. I don't know if Engineer Sana Atiku is there for the closing remark, then the closing prayer.
Thank you very much, Engineer Salis, for that. And thank you very much to the speakers, as well as the BFS mentees and other attendees of today's webinar. Engineer Sani Atiur, if he is available, you can go ahead with the closing remark, please.
Salam, sorry, just before the closing remarks, I am going to drop just to show you kind of information or the level of availability of information. I dropped a link for those that are interested. It is a graduate trainee program. So if you have your NYSC, please, you can apply. You can do that before 14th, which is Tuesday, if possible. So you can create your CV and send in your application. With that, so just to show you, this is just something I just checked on LinkedIn while I'm trying to close my webpage.
Oh, thank you very much for that, Muhammad Musa. Share that with take note of the link. I would share it across the other groups as well. Jazakumullahu khair. Engineer Sani Atiku, is he available, or Engineer Salis, can you take the closing remark if he's not here?
Yeah, okay, he just dropped from the call. We don't have much to say about our presenters. They are always standing with us in all the activities, and the only thing we can say to them is Jazakumullahu khairan for the support effort that you used to put in all our activities. Jazakumullahu khairan, and we wish to be inviting you soon again for other presentations, and for the mentees also, Jazakumullah khairan for joining us, and also the moderator, Engineer Salim, Jazakumullah khairan, and we can take any person at random for the closing prayer. I can see Mariam. Is it Mariam? Something. Mariam, you can take the closing prayer, please. Mariam Omar. Mariam Umar, if you are with us, you can unmute and do the closing prayers. Khadija Hudu Salisu, if you are with us, you can unmute and do the closing prayers. Alaikum salam. Jazakumullah khairan all for joining. We'll see you in the next 2 weeks for another webinar, inshallah. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining, and thank you the speakers for attending.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Alhamdulillah.